Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar. My name is Phil. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager here at Canada Helps, and I will be kind of your pseudo-host today. Today, we're going to be talking about getting more out of Giving Tuesday with custom donation forms, and we have the great privilege of having two amazing presenters with us today, Sarah Lyon of Nova Scotia SPCA and Daniel Poziani of Canada Helps. Before we get into everything, I did want to do a bit of a land acknowledgement and then also some housekeeping. So first, our team at Canada Helps is grateful to have the opportunity to meet and work on the many Indigenous homelands across this country that we share, Canada. As settlers on these lands, it is important to acknowledge that our Vancouver offices are located on the unceded territory of the Coast Salish people. The Montreal offices are located on the Kanien'kehá:ka Mohawk territory, and the land in which we operate in Toronto is a traditional territory of the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. We want to express our respect for the territories we reside in and honor the diverse Indigenous peoples who have lived and worked on these lands historically and presently. We, the staff and leadership at Canada Helps, are committed to being active participants in reconciliation. We are committed to continuing to amplify Indigenous voices and learning how our work affects Indigenous people. So a bit about Canada Helps. For those of you who are joining us for the very first time, welcome. Canada Helps is a charitable foundation increasing giving in Canada through technology. So for Canadians, CanadaHelps.org, it provides a trusted one-stop destination for making donations, fundraising, or learning about any charity in Canada. And for Canada's 86,000 plus charities, we also develop affordable fundraising technology and provide free training and education, just like this webinar, so that charities of all sizes have the capacity to increase their impact and succeed in this digital age. Since 2000, more than 3.5 million Canadians have donated over $3 billion to charities using Canada Helps. Now, if you do have a question, this is basically a one-way communication kind of platform, but we will send out a recording to each of you of this presentation and all the slides immediately after this presentation completes. One thing to know is that you can hear us, but we can't hear you. So if you have any questions or technical difficulties, type them into the questions log at any time, and one of us will get back to you, most likely me, and I'll be able to chat you through and provide any solutions there. Oh, that's new. Awesome. Now, a little bit about our presenters that we are very, very happy to have with us today. First, we have Sarah Lyon. She is the Chief Communications and Marketing Officer at Nova Scotia SPCA. Sarah was hired on the spot in her first fundraising role, her previous fundraising experience being door-to-door cookie sales for the Girl Guides. Since then, she has progressively moved into leadership roles in the health and animal social impact sector. She is the founder of Giving Tuesday Canada Community Movement, and Nova Scotia Gives More, and she continues to this day to sell Girl Guide cookies. So amazing. And our in-house rock star, Daniel Poziani, he's the charity engagement specialist here at Canada Helps. Since December 2020, Daniel has worked with thousands of charities at Canada Helps, helping them to boost their online fundraising efforts. Specializing in digital strategies and donor engagement, he provides tailored support to maximize donations and drive greater impact. Daniel is passionate about empowering nonprofits to succeed in the digital age, guiding organizations of all sizes to optimize their fundraising tools and grow their reach. So everybody on this webinar is in very, very good hands with both Sarah and Daniel. Today, we're going to be covering a few topics, quick agenda. Off the top, we're going to be talking about Giving Tuesday as an overview. Sarah's going to dive into that and some of the high-level stats, especially what we've seen in the last year or so. Then we're going to be talking about some of the changes that we've been talking about in our emails and in our communications to you over the last couple of weeks. And then Daniel will walk us through customer donation forms and kind of how to use them for this purpose. And then some Giving Tuesday campaign FAQs to just set you up for success as we enter the giving season. So with that, I will pass it over to Sarah.
Hello, everyone. And I am super excited to be here because I'm talking about one of my favorite days of the year, which we will get into is a little bit more than a day, but I love Giving Tuesday. I have been an active fundraiser in Giving Tuesday since it first came to Canada at my charitable organizations. Then, like Phil said, I run Nova Scotia Gives More, and we are a coalition of charities here in Nova Scotia that raises awareness, works together for Giving Tuesday. And on top of that, I do some after work hours with smaller organizations, helping them get ready for Giving Tuesday. So I'm very excited to come here and talk about Giving Tuesday with you with Canada Helps. So let's just do a quick review of 2023. So in 2023, it was another year where online giving was almost as high as the end of December. And if you are a fundraiser, you know that we typically look at the end of December as a bit of a benchmark. Giving Tuesday is now starting to really encroach on that day in a great way. So $50 million donated online in Canada within 24 hours. That is amazing. What we're seeing from Giving Tuesday 2023 is that your donors are already participating in Giving Tuesday, that your volunteers and supporters are already doing acts of generosity. The question is, and I think that's why you're all here today, are they doing it for you or someone else? Now, Canada Helps does an awesome job every year of tabulating the results from coast to coast to coast of Giving Tuesday. Their giving report highlighted that charities who participated in Giving Tuesday not only raised more money on Giving Tuesday, but throughout the rest of the year. And this comes from the Canada Helps giving report that I encourage you to download. Maybe it'll go, if Phil, if you can put it in the chat. It's a great read to help you really understand if you're struggling to understand giving, and especially as you're starting to plan your Giving Tuesday. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to. So we know that while Canadians are having to make some tough decisions, have some tough conversations about their expenses, grocery store, housing, we also know that it's ingrained in us as Canadians to want to help our neighbors. Giving Tuesday is both a communication vehicle for that, but also an active way to do it. If you have asked in the past for a donation, why not look at your fundraising and see what opportunity you can ask for this year, whether that be towards a designated project or a monthly ask? How can you target your fundraising for your audience this year so that while they are having those conversations about where they spend their money, you're in there? So, what is changing this year? Here's an important Giving Tuesday update. So if you've been a partner with Giving Tuesday over the past few years, here's a new change. In the past, charities have created a profile on the Giving Tuesday page, and then you had to go and create an online donation form on top of that. This year, Giving Tuesday is eliminating one of those steps, and no longer will we have those partner pages. So we're encouraging organizations to do make sure their social media is active and up to date, and that you go to Canada Helps and make a customized form. I use customized forms here at the SPCA for a lot of our urgent appeals, for our Giving Tuesday, and I highly recommend it. And I'm going to turn it over to Dan, who will explain more.
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Customized donation forms. We're encouraging all charities to utilize their donation forms through Canada Helps. Among many things, right, this will allow you to get the most out of your online donations and Canada Helps account for many reasons, right? Our donation forms allow you to tailor the donor experience to any campaign that you're looking to do throughout the year. Obviously, today we're talking about Giving Tuesday, so tailoring your campaign, your donation form to Giving Tuesday, including your unique fundraising goals, as well as messaging, right, to provide that seamless donation experience for your donors, which is really important. So main question is, right, how do we do this? How do we access our donation forms through the Canada Helps platform. So the first thing that you'll want to do, obviously, is sign into your Canada Helps account. If you got that down, that's great. From there, in the upper half, and you can kind of see this on your screen here, but in the upper half of your screen, you'll be able to see different tabs up at the top. One of them being donation forms, right? So this is where you'll want to click in, and you'll see a blue button in the upper right corner, which is called Create New Form. This is where you'll go to pick and choose and customize, right? Configure that donation form for Giving Tuesday, right? From there, you will be able to customize the form as you see fit. So this includes choosing which form you would like to use, whether it's a full form donation form, which is everything on one page, very simple, to a multi-step donation form, which brings the donor through kind of 3 separate steps to complete their donation. From there, you'll be able to add your branding, right, and your color scheme, which is very important to the whole donation process, description of your cause, and tailor the thank you message towards Giving Tuesday, towards giving to your campaign. Another cool feature and why we recommend using donation forms, among many things, but the additional features that you have access to. So if you're wanting to, let's say, provide donors an option to allocate their donation towards specific fund designations, right? For Giving Tuesday, you can assign those to the specific donation form throughout when you're customizing the donation form, or just having it go to a general fund, and you'll be able to understand how much has been raised through that form through your donation forms tab. Right. Phil, if you could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. And so how does the donation process work, right, for donors? So again, accessing the donation form. Well, these are forms that you can have linked or embedded directly on your website, right? So they'll visit your website. There's other things that you can kind of think about is how have you optimized your website enough? Is it easy enough to find our donate button? All of those things tie into raising more. So you'll be able to link this donation form directly to a donate button, say in your top right corner of your website. Kind of want to think e-commerce, right? When we're purchasing, clothing or checking out, where do we usually find that? That's up in the top right corner. So we want to be consistent with that behavior. So you can connect your donation form to a donate button there, or a banner across your screen supporting Giving Tuesday. And they'll land on your fully branded donation form with your logo, your messaging, right? From there, they'll be able to select what type of donation they want to make. So whether it's a one-time donation, monthly donation, you can also include suggested donation amounts, or another option is smart sum. So these donation amounts will change depending on the time of the year, using our algorithm or past donations. So another great option to include if you want to kind of differentiate your one-time donation amounts compared to your monthly donation. So all of these things, right, you'll be able to go through and add and test out when customizing that donation form. From there, they'll be able to input their payment information. So obviously, after filling out their contact information for their tax receipt, which obviously Canada Helps will take care of for you, they'll move on to payments. So credit card, right? Visa debit, MasterCard, American Express, PayPal if they have an account and prefer to go through PayPal, Google Pay, Apple Pay, I believe there's, depending on what type of product or technology that they're using, right? And then as soon as they click complete donation, that donor will receive an automatic tax receipt via their email, again, providing that seamless donor experience that we're all hoping for. And so here I'll pass it back to Sarah for Giving Tuesday campaign FAQs.
Okay, so like I said, one of my favorite topics is Giving Tuesday. And for the next few slides, I'm going to talk through, I'm going to say some frequently asked questions, or I might say things that I see posted in Facebook chats from fellow fundraisers. So let's talk about some of the things that you might be thinking yourself, or you might have heard from a colleague. So I hear a lot from fundraisers and organizations that say to me, I'm not going to participate in Giving Tuesday because I didn't raise money on Giving Tuesday. And my first question, and if you've heard me speak in the past, you know what I'm going to say. My first question is always the same thing. Did you plan a specific goal for your Giving Tuesday? If you're just going to put a post out that says, please donate, it is like throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping that it sticks. It is not a plan. So my first thing is going to say, look at your fundraising and see what you can narrow down on into a Giving Tuesday goal. So make it smart so that you can measure it. Are you looking for more volunteers? Are you looking for more subscribers to your newsletter? Have you been hoping to launch a monthly giving campaign? Narrow it down, make it smart. And just if you're thinking, Sarah, I don't have the resources, we don't have the time, it's October 22nd, you have the time. My first Giving Tuesday plan was a one-pager. It doesn't need to be a multi-page document. So once you have that goal, part of your plan is going to be tactics. And a lot of us run to tactics right away. Don't miss out on that last slide. Make sure you have a goal. But when you get to tactics, what do you need to do to help reach your goal? Is it videos of kindness that people are doing, organic content or user-generated content, but they're tagging you? Is it an influencer asking their followers to sign up to volunteer with your organization? What is going to be that unique thing that will help you get to your goal that you need to help, you need to ask others to help you with, or that you need to plan for? Another thing that I hear is everyone is doing Giving Tuesday, so we're not. But let me reframe that. Canadians give to 4 to 5 charities regularly. Those charities are asking, and as we have seen earlier, they're receiving. Why not you? What could be your unique tactic? What could be your activation that you could do that could help you with your Giving Tuesday? So we've heard of organizations that do thankathons, others who hold an announcement until that day. Consider doing more than just an ask on social media. Oh, I think my slides might be off. Okay, sorry. Go to the next one. All right. So how can we increase donations on the day itself? Well, the way that you can increase donations is by creating that sense of urgency, that excitement. You can really leverage the day. It is built in marketing, right? We have had Giving Tuesday in Canada for well over a decade now, and people are starting to get used to it. Media is starting to get used to it. So you can increase the donations that day by not setting and forgetting it. Resource your day. Keep your supporters involved. I've heard of organizations that have a match and they report back when that match hits, but they've already been prepared because they have another match waiting in the wings to talk about it again. So great news, here's another match, right? So think about different ways that you can make it exciting for your supporters, but that it's all day, because I might not be on social media in the morning. The algorithm might not get to me that morning, but I might be there at lunch, I might be there after work. So it does need to be resourced. So how do you create a strong call to action? So be specific and showcase the impact related to donations. So again, instead of saying, please donate, think about your goal. How many fully funded school kits is your Giving Tuesday goal? What is the target amount from a match donor that you have to meet? How many new volunteers or newsletter signups can you challenge to get that day? Make it clear and simple. One ask. The big things about a matching donor, and I'm going to be open and transparent. I have had the great fortune to work with donors throughout my Giving Tuesday experience who want to be matching donors. That's historically what I've done, is make sure they can be named, right? Put a face to that name. You know, I see a lot of like anonymous donor, and I think that it's best when you can use it with a name, but also their voice. So the donor saying to people in some of your content why they are giving this amount of money and asking the supporters to join them in that impact to make a difference and also to donate money. So what is the best way to use social media for Giving Tuesday? I think this goes back to the things that I've already said about having a goal, but also knowing your audience and stick to that content. So if you are going to be using your social media on Giving Tuesday and you have the opportunity to, you're not needing to break news or anything on it, it should only be about Giving Tuesday. Have that content ready. It should be about Giving Tuesday news. So sharing stories or sharing posts from other Giving Tuesday Canada, Canada Helps. It should be asks, you know, you should have asks in there. It should be storytelling. So again, you've got that matching donor, a video clip of why they are giving. You want to get more volunteers, a volunteer giving a quick little video about why they volunteer. And remember, when you make content, you should think about all the ways that you want to use that content. So while you might, let's say, make a TikTok, saving that before you get the TikTok watermark on it so that it becomes a reel, but also interviewing the person so that you can have it into a written form if you need that in a newsletter. But this day on Giving Tuesday should be only about Giving Tuesday. In the past, I've worked at organizations where we turned the website red that day. New profile pictures, asking ambassadors that we've reached out to also change their profile pictures and their cover photos specifically in support of us, and we have produced that content for them. Okay, I'm talking fast because I'm a maritimer. So how can we keep donors engaged after Giving Tuesday? So this is one of the benefits of doing a customized form, donation form on Canada Helps. It allows you to ask a question and you can learn a little bit more about the donor, and that's information for building that relationship in a follow-up. So for example, at the Nova Scotia SPCA, we do a campaign of cats versus dogs, and your donation is a vote for cats versus dogs. We can put in there, are you voting cat or are you voting dog? And they can write it in. And what that helps me with is in my follow-up thank you, I can get all the donors who picked cats, and my follow-up thank you is from a cat's perspective, or it's a dog's point of view. So use your customized form and use that information that you ask for on that form to follow up with donors, to let them know about the impact from that day. This isn't just December 3rd. As we've seen, earlier on, it is a whole month because people who give on Giving Tuesday are going to give throughout the month of December. So I do think, and there was a great analogy a couple of years ago about the fact that if you like lettuce, sometimes you want romaine and sometimes you want iceberg and sometimes you want spinach, but you're not tired of lettuce. And so I think that's the same with donors, is that donors want to give. And so let's bust this just a little bit. And that is, know your audience and know what you're asking with your goal, right? So donors want to give, we've seen that. So that's out the window. They're following you on your socials. They're subscribing to your newsletter. They're opening your emails. Those are vehicles you are using for Giving Tuesday. So they want to hear from you about it. What they want to know is the impact. They want to know about the stories about what they helped make possible. You need to show them. Why is this one thing for around Giving Tuesday so special that they should give again, right? Show them. They are there. They are part of your audience. They want to give. So for example, if your goal is monthly donors, then you need to make a plan to speak to maybe your annual donors and move them to monthly. It's the same for your mid-level to ask for securities. Know your audience, know your goal, stick to it. And how do you track a campaign success? So again, if you have a SMART goal, then you should have an evaluation metric built in. Make sure you track what you need to present to maybe management or to the team, and also set up a wrap-up meeting to start your 2025 Giving Tuesday plans. We have our wrap-up Giving Tuesday meeting in January, and we start making our plans for 2025. So when you do that SMART goal, it's so easy to move to tactics. I understand, I do it too, but make sure that it's measurable so that you can sit back and say, okay, here was the goal, here was the measurement. Did it work? Again, you're not throwing something in the air and hoping that it lands. You have that goal and you can be successful with it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sarah, Daniel. Lots of great information here. And again, we will be sending out all of the recordings and the slides to everybody that registered for the webinar. So you'll have that in your inbox shortly. But before we wrap up, we did want to do a bit of a Q&A to just kind of answer some of the questions that have popped up and some other questions that other people have been asking in anticipation for this webinar. So the first one is probably best suited for Daniel, and it kind of goes back into the nitty gritty of the actual custom donation forms. So the question here is, when customizing the form, can you add drop-down menu items that allow donors to direct which program the funds go to?
Absolutely, yeah. So in your Canada Helps account, we consider those fund designations, but so if you're wanting to add those, it's actually in your account info tab. And there should be a blue banner across your screen, and under charity funds is where you'll be able to add those specific funds or programs that you want to provide your donors that option to give. And the great thing is, as soon as you add those in, they'll be automatically added to your donation form, or should be, but also you have the ability to select where those funds show up within your Canada Helps account. But just adding them will populate onto your donation form, and they'll appear under the custom donation amount for donors to choose from in a drop-down menu.
Perfect, thank you. Great. This one could go to either of you, actually. So I think Sarah spoke to it a little bit in one of the FAQs, but maybe we can expand on it a little bit more. What are some of the strategic advantages of having a custom form specifically for Giving Tuesday, as opposed to just pushing traffic to your generic form that you have on your website?
Sure. So for me, it's about the fact that the donor chose that day to donate and to be part of Giving Tuesday. And so it's about my intentional follow-up to build the relationship. So I know that that was the day that they chose. I get that little bit of information. Was it team cat? Was it team dog? Or maybe you put in you're raising money for music equipment for long-term care facility. What psalm do you want to make sure is on a playlist? I've heard of the Alzheimer's Society of Ontario using that. So it's about building that relationship and really having the metrics so that we know how much was raised. Our finance person doesn't have to sort, if we want to get technical, if you don't want the fuzzy, doesn't have to sort through it. It's an easy download for us. But really, for me, the customized form is about building relationships.
Yeah, I think, Sarah, you mentioned it, and I'll just add on to it, but it's just making it easier on you and your team, right, to so that everything isn't really included together, right? Monthly donations that have been there for the year, right? It's just kind of easier for you to track behind the scenes as well, right? And and see, what worked, how donations got there, right? That sort of thing. So the tracking really helps.
And I think too, like, it's so customizable, right? So you can brand it to that day. You can, so that I know when I land on it, if I heard about it on the radio that morning that, it was a drive for school supplies, and I can see drive for school supplies, I know that I am participating in that. And then, on the other end for your metrics, hey, that radio partnership worked. So for 2025, let's continue that. The other thing that I think is valuable too is the automatic emails back, because those can be customized. So thank you for your psalm choice. Share your psalm on social media, tag us, and ask your friends to donate and give their psalm. There's so many different ways that you can do it.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, tons of ways to get creative there. Okay, another question here. It could be to both, but maybe we can start with Sarah. Any tips on securing a matching funder? Many have responded saying that they've already chosen a charity for this year, and it's been a bit frustrating.
Completely understand. So I'm going to go with two different ways. And I don't know specifically what you all have done, and so I'm always open to talking about it. But when people are really struggling to find a matching donor, when we look at it from a corporate point of view, I look at our suppliers and what have we asked our suppliers to help us with. And I also really work within the team and within the leadership to say, like, has there been somebody who's been thinking about donating at a major gift level? The conversations that happen during the year to say, I might, when your major gift officers, if you have one, I know everybody doesn't, but if there's an opportunity to talk about a major gift in July, and you can talk about them being a matching donor for GivingTuesday. So I would say that those are the ways to do it, is that you're going to corporate for sure is that kind of one where they have it built in. You have to do that earlier in the year. You have to really know what their funding cycle is. So like, don't wait until fall. Put it in your plans to be talking about it in January to corporate sponsors, but then also have it on the team's plate that when they hear and they're having conversations with a possible major gift donor, could they be a matching donor?
Yeah, I'll just touch on implementing what Sarah mentioned, right? I know it's not too late just yet, but put it in the plans early next year, right? Start talking about it early, making sure that you have that structure down to start talking with individuals and talking about Giving Tuesday or the big time around Christmas, right? So start those plans early.
And I'm sorry, Daniel, I keep going like, oh, and because I think of something while you were talking, and that is like, I wonder if people are stressing out because they think a matching donor has to be $20,000, right? So at Nova Scotia Gives More, we have 80 charities in our community movement that are relatively small, and some matching donations are $2,000. And that's great. So don't be putting that pressure on yourself. At the very, another way to go about it would be asking your board to all submit a gift, and just the cumulative total of that is a matching donation. But it doesn't have to be this big number.
And use that board, right? Use your connections to chat with those individuals or make new connections, right? Use what you have, use the resources that you have.
For sure, for sure. Great tips there. And I think it kind of goes to, Sarah, what you were mentioning, that post-mortem for your Giving Tuesday campaign. It could start there, right? Talking about your next campaign. start those conversations that early. Corporations are used to those asks coming really early too, so it's not going to be out of the blue. So I think it's great. Okay, we can go back to, we have another custom donation form question here. So we'll start with Daniel. What are the main considerations around deciding whether to use a single page versus a multi-page donation form?
Yeah, great question. For me personally, it's how I want it, how I want to set it up on my website. Personally, like a multi-step donation form is smaller. So therefore, on my ways to give page or my donation page that is actually on the website, I'll embed that so I can actually enter in more information around the form. So what we strive to do and help charities to do is provide a ways to give page. And so that is offering up different options your donors can choose from to make a donation. So a one-time donation, a monthly tribute, so in memory and honor of, or securities. The multi-step donation form for me allows a website to include the donation form embedded, so having it living right on your website while still being able to kind of fit more things around to educate your donors on the different options. If you're just simply looking to link a form to, say, a donate button, the full form might be best because it takes up more of the page and it's just very straightforward on one form. So I would say, depending on how you're going to set it up on your website, one or the other is better to use.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, switching back to the Giving Tuesday strategy side of things. We just concluded our annual fundraising event recently. Any tips on how to approach the donors and sponsors again in the span of only a few months?
So, as a professional fundraiser, I'm going to say that you just ask again. Now, I know how that sounds. So I want to think about that, a little bit. So for me, we are a pretty big organization. So if you give on Giving Tuesday, you are going to be directly asked to give again by mid-January. That is the way that we go about our fundraising. And I think it goes back to this idea that people don't want to give or that they just gave. I would ask, it is a day, Giving Tuesday is a very marketable day. I've said that before. Everybody is out there doing something, out there asking. They might have had such a great experience at your event that on Giving Tuesday, it's another opportunity for them to participate. Now, I will say that if you held your event and then you're going to ask on Giving Tuesday, in there you have to think, you have to show impact, you have to story tell, right? They're not ATMs. These are contributors who see us as the vehicle to helping animals, to helping kids, to helping the environment. So I would make sure that you have some communication between then and Giving Tuesday, but I would ask, it's a special day. Have a goal. Is it where they're lapsed donors who maybe came and didn't really fundraise that day? Is that the target that you have? But I would ask again because they're seeing it, and they're getting emails about it. And I just want to this is a stickler, if I can get on a soapbox for a second. I hear a lot about like, well, I've already gotten like 14 emails for Giving Tuesday in my inbox. I see those posts, but I'm going to tell you, Canadian Tire is sending me Black Friday flyers in October, and I don't see us complaining about them, right? They're sending me Black Friday sales even after Black Friday. So don't be afraid to ask. Like, people are asking. You as fundraisers are trying to fill and fix such a giant gap in our society. It is our duty to ask. I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
No, I think that was great. That's absolutely great. And it's a tough thing to do, right? To just kind of get over that apprehension and just do it. But I think it's great to hear that from somebody who has had success doing exactly that. So that's awesome. So we have a few here for Daniel related to custom donation forms. I'll ask them. Yeah, I can put a bunch of them together. So first question is there an option on the custom donation forms for people to choose for Canada Helps to cover admin fees? Cover the fees option.
Yeah, yes, there is. This is a newer feature through Canada Helps. Cover the fee option. It's in donor options when you're customizing the form. So in donor options, you can turn on or off if you want the donor to remain anonymous or not, leave a message, allow them to donate like in memory or in honor of. One of those options is to allow donors to cover the Canada Helps fee. So you can turn that on or off.
Amazing. Another question on the forms, is Canada Helps partnered or linked to any social media giving buttons, or is it just PayPal?
I believe it's just PayPal. Obviously, they can donate through their own credit cards, Visa, debit, American Express, MasterCard, but PayPal is the only other option that they could sign in and give with an account.
Perfect, thank you. We have another one on the Canada Help side, but I think I can handle this one. So will Canada Help be matching donations again this year like they did before? So we do have an announcement about exactly that coming soon. So there's nothing I can announce here just yet, but we will be announcing that shortly. So if you're not subscribed to our newsletter, please do that. We will definitely be announcing it there within the next week or so. So look out for that announcement. I think we have one more here. There's a lot of like duplicate kind of questions here, but this one is about Giving Tuesday. Can we start promoting Giving Tuesday prior to the event? What is like the earliest you would advise someone starts talking about Giving Tuesday?
Love that question. Love that you're thinking about it. Again, you can't rely on an algorithm or to make sure that you're going to get that news hit on Giving Tuesday. So yes, you should be talking about it. So I don't think that there is a time frame. It's got to work for you and the goals and resources that you have. But in marketing, people need to see things 7, 8, 9 times before they'll action it. So if you have your newsletter going out the week before, you can tease it. You can change your socials over. You can ask beforehand. I think for us, our Giving Tuesday is a week-long event. Obviously Giving Tuesday is the day that we put the most resources into it here. But you can talk about it the week before. You can talk about it till the week after. There's no rules.
Great, awesome. And I have another one here, more about strategy for Giving Tuesday. So maybe this would be great for Sarah. And you kind of touched on this in your FAQs about talking about your impact, telling your donors about the impact that they could be making. So this question is, so libraries have a hard time outlining specific impact. Do you have any experiences to share for library charities or basically any charities that kind of fall into that same issue where the impact they have is kind of in a lot of different places and it's hard to narrow down exactly one message for them? How would you advise a charity in that kind of situation?
I would advise that we have a chat. It's a on the spot. I would say that for your Giving Tuesday, you're going to focus on one. You want to keep that message very clear, even though you are, as a library, again, another social safety net for the community. But I would pick one that you focus on that day. And again, if you're going to get new supporters or lapsed donors in, you're going to then start that relationship with them where you can tell them about the rest of the programs and the things that you have going on. Libraries, grassroots organizations, they all do face this. I'll tell you that I have a client in my after work hours who is a grassroots organization that has a lot that they are doing. And what we focused on for Giving Tuesday last year was giving back. And so the story was that we understand the need in the community. One of the things that we have is a garden. So on this day, this is how many pounds of food we gave back. And what we did is we did the give back, and then we told donors about it and included a donation link to help us to make sure that we can continue to helping people past that. So again, it was telling the story, telling the impact. And we did that without showing faces or stories of a vulnerable public. And so there is definitely ways around that. I can't come up with it right now for libraries. Another client last year, this will be my last anecdote, is a literacy organization, and for GivingTuesday, they put a little library next to a community fridge, and so that you can feed your mind and your body, because for their literacy group, one of the things that they want to do is democratize literacy, and so that was what they did. And then they told their donors and their supporters about it and said, you know, you can support us in this work. So they still took something that was specific, but were able to build a relationship to inform people about the rest of the great work that they do, that you do.
I love that. I love the idea of just narrowing down and picking one of those things, right? The campaign doesn't have to be all things for everyone, for everything, right? It can be very specific, and that could probably actually help the conversion rate and all of that. So I love that tip.
And I think so too, like yeah. You're on this call right now in October, like you are passionate about what you do. And so it's natural to be like, let me tell you all the things we do because we need all the funding for it. I get it. But use this opportunity to really narrow and focus, make a clear ask so I'm not questioning what you're asking me for, and then build the relationship.
Amazing. Such a great tip. Okay, think we can do one more here. So I'm getting the sense from a lot of these questions that they're looking for things that can be a bit more specific in terms of what their campaign could look like. At the end of the day, it's going to be different for every single person. But in your example, Sarah, of doing your week-long approach to GivingTuesday, strategically, when do you start talking to your donors about that campaign? Is it a week out? Is it earlier than that? Like, how do you start warming your audience up for that?
Wonderful. So again, at the SPCA, we have a bigger team than a smaller organization. And so I would say our major gift officer is talking 2 weeks out, explaining what's going to happen, that there's a matching donor. And so we do see that those donations come in on the day. Because again, our unique thing is cats versus dogs. And people can be very passionate about one or the other. We do have a category for both, but they want to see, we have, like, you know, we report back on, like, cats are in the lead, dogs are in the lead. So we report back all week about that, but our major gift officers start talking about it 2 weeks before. We get the staff involved the week before. We're picking team captains, who's our team dog captain, who's our team cat, and we start to tease that out on social media. So I would say for us, it starts about 2 weeks before, 1 week before it's really more public, and then we spend a week in the campaign.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, sounds good. So that's going to wrap up our Q&A portion. If we didn't get to your question, what we do after every single webinar is we go back and look at all the questions to make sure that we got everything. And if there's one that we missed, we'll answer that via email. So thank you to everyone who has asked a question. And a big thank you to our presenters, Sarah and Daniel, for sharing their expertise and their great information and all the tips they have for GivingTuesday for this upcoming giving season. So that said, if you do have any follow-up questions, feel free to contact us. You can send an email to info@canadahelps.org, and you can ask questions about this webinar or anything else that you want information on. But if you want to get even more specific, you can definitely book some time directly with Daniel, and he can walk you through some of those fundraising strategies, walk you through any of the questions specifically that you have about the CDFs, and set you up for success that way. So again, we want to say thank you so much to everyone for taking the time to join us for this webinar, and you will see within the next day or so an email pop up with the presentation and the recording. So thank you again, and hope you have a wonderful day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.